It's Wednesday night, and we're live from Oakdale, Washington, in the Educated Touch studio. Welcome to Ethics Outside the Box, with your host, Nathan Nordstrom. Special guests include... and you. Here he is, Nathan Nordstrom.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's Ethics Outside the Box. It is great to have you with me. Today is one of those days where if you hold a weekly show on Wednesday, and the weekly show on Wednesday is falls on Christmas or the 4th of July or Halloween, you still get to do it. However, we're doing it early today. And so we wanted to make sure that we give you guys an opportunity to participate. We're having a little bit of technical difficulty. Hold on. Continue. Let's see. Check my okay. Speaker should be Yeti. There we go. That should be better. Maybe. Let's see here, and test mic. There we go. All right, everything should be working right. All right, so welcome to this week's Ethics Outside of the Box. We have a wonderful 4th of July theme. I've got my red, white, and blue shirt on. I've got my flag in the background here. You're looking at my backyard. Just getting ready tonight. I think we'll have fireworks going right about here. So be willing to join me today if I get the chance. I'm planning on following up with a lot of the wonderful people who are connecting here through Facebook. I'm gonna hit my own little like because I can like myself. It's an okay thing to do. But we want to start actually looking at what the topic is today. So starting off, we're going to go over to the wonders that is the internet. All right, here. If you have not been on Educated Touch's Facebook page or Ethics Outside the Box, we've got both of those web pages here. Those are very helpful to have. The other pieces that you're going to be wanting to connect with is educatedtouch.com is where we have all of our home, our instructors, our classes, including if you want to be on a live webinar for us, we can definitely connect with you that way. If you have any questions, if you'd like to be a guest, you can also call me, contact me through the contact link. But there are other classes we teach across the country, so make sure to go to classes to find those classes, and then shop. We've got a couple of those pieces. We have live courses. We have tests for online webinars and videos. That's what we've got here. And then tools. We've got new in. We've got gua sha tools. We've got other classes that are new in. For some other reason, they're recommending the coaching classes, where that's a one-on-one coaching opportunity for us to sit down and figure out exactly what it is for you to take that next step, either in leadership as a massage therapist or as a continuing education provider. And then we have fan favorites as we go through there. So this is the Educated Touch website to find the classes that you want to participate in. And then we have our old favorite, Standards of Practice from the National Certification Board, ncbtmb.org. For most people, it looks more like that. I do a little scrolling in so that we can actually see what's being presented. We have the background, we have the preamble. You know, if we haven't read this yet, the background, the purpose of the National Certification Board of Therapeutic Massage and Body Workers is to foster high standards of ethics and professional practice in the delivery of services through a recognized, credible certification program that assures the competency of practitioners of therapeutic massage and body work. You know, that's a a lot to be said, but that's the whole value of having the National Certification Board up and going, is to create that that important professional standard. These standards of practice ensure that certificants are aware of the committed to uphold the high standards of practice for the profession. Also, the standards of practice are meant to assist members of the general public, including customers, other healthcare professionals, and state and municipal regulation agencies on board or boards to understand the duties and responsibilities of NCB-TMB certificants. You know, when we start looking at the Alliance for Massage Therapy Education, they look at these as a tool to kind of connect. If we look at the Federation of State Massage Therapy Boards, they look at these to connect with what it is that a board certified massage therapist should be, so that they can understand the difference between a standard license and a board certification. You know, AMTA has connected with NCB regularly on these. So it's important to kind of look at these standards, ABMP, and those groups to kind of say what is, sorry about that, should have hit the mute button. Hit the mute that time. Got it. Okay. These are those standards to be put into place. And a lot of times when we look at state licensing boards in law or in their rules and regulations, they'll actually connect with NCB standards as well as AMTA and ABMP standards. NCB-TMB developed and adopted these standards of practice to provide certificants with a clear standard of the expectations of professional conduct and levels of practice afforded the public in, among other things, the following areas: professionalism, legal and ethical requirements, confidentiality, business practices, roles and boundaries, and prevention of sexual misconduct and inappropriate touch. These standards of practice were approved and drafted by the National Certification Board of Directors. Requirements for the certificant population and key stakeholders of the National Certification Board. You know, it's interesting that we kind of look at nonprofit entities. And one of the big pieces is when you have a nonprofit, that nonprofit has a board of directors, and that board of directors has to have a membership-based report or a membership-based group that connects with them and that reflect what the membership is. And so when we're looking at the board of directors and the key stakeholders, that is the group of people who is speaking for you as an NCB approved a board certified massage therapist, or in some cases NCB TMB approved. Those types of things are all what we go through when we're talking about the National Certification Board. So we won't do the preamble today, but the preamble is definitely there and an important piece. You know, we're still playing with Standard 1 now that we got out of the Code of Ethics. Standard 1 actually comes down to Q and R for today. We already talked about not falsely impugning and what impugn means from last week, but Q is where we're going to start. And it's a really easy, quick statement, but we're going to kind of pull it apart a little bit more and kind of see what it looks like when you don't follow standards and you're not demonstrating professionalism and being of that category that you should be. Remain in good standings with the NCB-TMB. So remain in good standings. I look at my kids and I say, okay, what do my kids have to do to remain in good standings with me? Well, they have to do their chores. They've got to follow instructions. They've got to listen. They've got to do what's right. They have to represent other leaders, or they have to respect other leaders as they are working and kind of progressing, like their principal and their teachers. And being respectful to those people allows my children to have a good standing role. You know, for professionals in any field, you've got that same category. You've got that same concept there that really kind of connects with making sure that someone is respectful to the profession, making sure that they're following the rules, making sure that they're understanding what is responsible for them, and progressing and pursuing forward that next possibility of what needs to happen. So, staying in good standards. What does it mean if you don't stay in good standards? So if you're not following the standards, then you're going to suffer consequences. Pretty easy statement. Now, there's external consequences and internal consequences. This is something that I've been working with my kids on for years. External consequences are for us as parents. So we say, hey, you know what? You didn't do this chore, so here's the consequences. You're grounded. Here's the consequences. You don't get this privilege. Here's the consequences. You don't have this opportunity, whatever that is. You know, NCB also has external consequences as well. So let's start looking at a couple of those external consequences so that we can understand exactly what those are. You know, I kind of went to the top of the website and into the search bar. And when you go into the search bar, how can we help you? I typed in disciplinary action. And disciplinary actions are for those people who have done something wrong. And the discipline is many different categories of possibility, but we want to kind of connect with a couple of those key disciplinary categories or sections that could happen to a person, some of those key pieces that might be of problem. So as we go down, we're going to say certificate violations of ethics and standards. And CBTMB takes its role in serving the public truly very seriously, public's trust very seriously, in accordance with the rules and procedures regarding ethics and the professional disciplinary complaints. And CBTMB publishes sanctions imposed on certificates found to be in violation of our code of ethics and or our standard of practice. You know, to view the most current list of certificates disciplinary actions, click here. So these are people who have not followed the code of conduct of an NCB board member or a board certified massage therapist. So if they haven't done this, then they start looking at these different codes of action. We'll get there, but we also want to look at the two other categories that are there that can be problematic. School compliance program. So they also have a school compliance program that looks at the code of ethics for a school. The standard, making sure that they're following the rules, making sure that they're actually doing what they're supposed to. This is one tool that is out there for this concept that I know a lot of state licensing boards have to look at, and that is when they're talking about diploma mills, schools that don't require you to go to school, but they give you a certificate for you to go and get licensed anyway. It's considered a diploma mill. And so that diploma mill mentality is something that this type of application and process is trying to fight off. And it really does kind of give the NCB some support in looking at who's coming into the profession and how to make sure that a school who's putting forth a graduate will be then available and ready to be a board certified massage therapist. Okay, so the third group, which is the group that I think a lot of people completely forget about. They don't forget about it when they have to get their continuing education itself, but they kind of forget about it when they start looking at what the responsibilities of a group are. And approved provider program. You know, the NCBTMB does not accept continuing education courses from revoked approved providers which have been purchased after the documented revocation date. NCBTMB is now removing approved provider cases. It's now reviewing approved provider cases. So if you have a complaint about a continuing education provider, if the CE provider is not acting ethically or appropriately, you know what? That's something that NCB looks at, because they want to make sure that their CE providers are following the practices, are doing their best as educators that they can. This is a tool that NCB has to really make sure that your quality of education is there. This can be, we'll actually look at the approved provider, or the code of ethics and standard of practice for approved providers, but they have that. They have a standard that's expected of a approved provider. So as a continuing education provider myself, that actually makes me feel good that as I'm holding true to standards, that other people who are NCB continuing education providers will also be holding true to those standards. We'll also be pushing forward and saying, hey, you know what, I'm going to make sure that I'm doing the best that I can. And so these different categories are important. Now, what happens if you are a massage therapist and you also are an instructor at a school or the owner of a school, and you're a continuing education provider, and you don't follow up or follow through with your standards of practice as a massage therapist, as a board certified massage therapist? You know what? There are many cases where they've gone through and taken board certification away from the school, from the CE provider, and the person. So you want to make sure, I say many, there's not a huge amount, but it is something to be concerned about and conscious of. So really quick, I want to kind of come up to the Code of Ethics Standard of Practice. So I'm going to hit the most recent list. It's probably going to display here in just a moment. And if I can, I'm going to not look at the names because that's not really that important to me. And certificate numbers, not really important to me as well. But you've got city, the date of action, and then the disciplinary action. So what kind of disciplinary actions can they provide? Well, revoke them from their license or from their certification. That's definitely an important one. It's you're not following these standards. Now, this can be that they were sexually inappropriate and it was proven in a court of law. It can be that they were not operating business-wise in a safe and professional way. But it could be any type of those not following the code of ethics or standard of practice. So revoke. Indefinite suspension. I'm not quite sure, and I'm wondering if it actually says up here anywhere. So revocation. Certification can be revoked permanently, and that person is no longer certified for the former certificant may not advertise using their credentials or any NCBTMB logo. You are use their certificate any other way to promote their practice. Use in any way hold themselves out to be certified by NCBTMB. So suspension is a certificant's certification has been suspended for a defined period of time and may be subjected to meeting certain requirements before the suspension could be lifted. Obviously, and then during the suspension period of time, they can't use the logo, they can't go through, and they can't say that they are board certified, or could potentially get back to their board certification. Emergency suspension. A certificate's certification has been suspended due to an emergency situation or restriction of state licensing, certification, or regulation by a federal, state, or local government or agency. Certification will remain on emergency suspension until NCB reviews all information available and a final determination has been made. And then we've got the same rules there. Indefinite suspension. A certification has been suspended for an undefined period of time due to their failure to reply to a complaint. Certificant is required to properly respond and comply with NCB peer review process prior to the committee making a final decision. NCBMT reserves the right to take additional action against the certificant in addition to the information. Probation, and then you've got probation itself. A certificant has been placed on probation for an indeterminate period of time and may be suspended the meeting certificate requirements before the probation is lifted. So when we're looking at, there we go. When we start seeing a couple of different pieces, it is alphabetical by state. So if you're looking for any suspensions that have happened in your state, you can go here and kind of go by that. And then it has the names. So revocation, indefinite suspension, which, a reminder, indefinite suspension means that they didn't hear back from them. And so they're waiting for them. It was 2015 and 2017. So likelihood that they will respond is probably pretty low. But if they kind of connect there, then they can connect with that information. A couple more indefinite suspension. You're going to see that most people have their licenses, their board certification revoked. Different suspension, revocation, probation until 2020. So that person really did kind of work through the system and strive to get their board certification back. And that's where they're at. As long as they're following the rules and doing what they're supposed to, they could be able to get their board certification back. In indefinite suspension, once again, probation of revocation to revocation. So they went on probation and they didn't follow through, and so they were revoked. Indefinite suspension. Let's just keep rolling, see if we got any others down here. Obviously, we're in the Florida. We got Miami, Malibu area. Florida actually has the most of any state. It's about 2 pages worth of disciplinary actions, which that's pretty impressive to me. Not good impressive, just shockingly impressive. New York is also fairly high. So probation until 2019. Congratulations, whoever that is. It's getting close. Hopefully you'll be able to continue doing good. Emergency suspension. Okay, I think that's the first one that we have there. Till 2020, and this is currently 2018. So that's 4 more years. So that's a pretty 2024. Okay, that's 6 more years. That's pretty long amount of time. So there was probably something very wrong that happened that hopefully they'll be able to improve. Now, why do they do all this? Why are they revoking or suspending and have all these different options, put them on probation for a period of time? Well, the hope for probation is that they'll be able to change their ways and they'll be able to do something appropriate from that point. Emergency suspension is a process where you suspend them so that you can have time to go through the process and look through those important pieces to really allow them to you to draw a conclusion. I look at that mostly with my kids, where if I'm getting angry because they've done something horrible, I send them to their room so that my head can calm down and so that I can get all the information and be able to make an educated decision on how to deal with that child. That's one of my pieces. So that emergency suspension is the going to your room. We're going to look at all the information. We'll be able to make that decision later. Indefinite suspension. We can't tell you you'll never be able to get it back. However, we're telling you you're going to have to go through the process to really make it a suitable and a professional experience to kind of get better. So that's there. Definite probation, emergency. I think that's all the options that we have. So I wanted to kind of show you that let's see, we're at, how many pages do we have? 8 pages. And I think the earliest I saw was 2010 so far. I haven't seen something in the aughts. So in the last about 8 years, 2004. So that gives us some timelihood. So 2004 through 2018, we've got 8 pages worth of disciplinary actions. So there's some really important pieces to be connected there that we kind of look at. So I also wanted to go through that other group, disciplinary action, not only for that, but looking at schools. That kind of gives us this is a much smaller list. These are schools that had problems that are no longer, so revoked, 5-year suspension. So it gives you those same responsibilities there. But it makes us understand when the school became no longer available to use the, prior to revocation, the school code was suspended on this date. So their school code is the code that is used a lot of times by the school to demonstrate that they are a business that is appropriate as an education system. This is not Commission on Massage Therapy accreditation. This is not CompTIA accreditation. This is nowhere near CompTIA accreditation. This is just basic business and making sure that they're holding true to the basic standards and that they will be able to have a board certified massage therapist become board certified. CompTIA accreditation actually goes through the curriculum, goes through the instructor, gives you great categories, and CompTIA, COMTA.org. I'm almost positive that's their website. CompTIA accreditation is something to look at when you're looking at joining a school that gives you high quality education. So that's kind of there as well. School code revoked. Let's see, 2009 is the earliest I'm seeing on this. But once again, it's alphabetical order by state. And so being able to scroll down through here, school code denied. So they applied for a school code. However, they're haven't demonstrated professionalism, or that they are a diploma mill, just trying to get some acronym behind them so that they can say, oh, I'm NCB approved, so obviously I'm a good school. NCB looks at that and says, no, it's not going to be okay. School code revoked, revoked as of those dates. So this is 2 pages, I think. Yeah, 2 pages of schools that have not been on the up and up. Now, the third group, once again, is a newer group that hasn't had much action, but they're now looking at continuing education providers and making sure that those continuing education providers are appropriately working with their students. Revocation, once again, revoking is a standard there. So revoking their NCB approved continuing education provider number. And it also goes through code of ethics violation, standard of practice violation, approved provider code of conduct violation. So this is where I was talking about approved provider code of ethics, what city they're in, and then obviously the name of the school or the CE provider. This is only one page, and if you have someone who you're concerned about, this is an important piece to kind of say, hey, you know what, I want to make sure that they're looked at and that there's an auditing process. Just because you report someone, does that mean something's going to happen? I think that's something that massage therapists argue with regularly and kind of go into this concept of, am I responsible and can I get someone in trouble who's not supposed to be in trouble if I report them? I usually say, according to the state licensing board, that's one of the key pieces that people usually start connecting with, and they're like, oh, I just don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to get someone who's not supposed to be in trouble. Maybe I was assuming something. I think for me, the bigger statement is maybe you weren't assuming something, or maybe you were assuming something, but you were assuming it right. And if you don't report them, then they can do whatever that possible thing is to another person. And so it's important to report and say, hey, you know what, I had a problem with this. This is what I have. This is what's going on. And then let the state licensing board determine if they're going to follow through and follow up. But you've done your due diligence to make sure that you're following the code of ethics, standard of practice, and you're reporting people who have done something wrong. That is a tool for each of us to make sure that we are following through and doing what's right. So that's our major tool and our major important piece. Not only that we connect with that code of ethics, standard of practice, but that we hold other people to those same standards. So remain in good standing with NCBTMB. Does that mean anything else? Is there anyone else that you need to stand in good standing with for this? Well, yes, follow the laws of the land is part of the standard of practice, as well as the code of ethics. So if you have your license revoked from your state licensing board, that's instantly going to refer back to NCB as well. They're going to want to connect with you and figure out what that means for your board certification if you no longer have licensure. So being conscious, being aware of all that, that's good standing, and maintaining your good standing is making sure that you're following the practices that need to be there. Okay. All right, so let's go to the second one, because this one actually has more than 6 words, which that really does help. Standard R, or 1R, understand that the NCBTMB certificate may be displayed primarily in the certificate's principal place of practice. I'll read one more time. Understand that the NCBTMB certificate may be displayed primarily in the certificate's primary place of practice. Why do you think they need to say this? This is a piece where it's like, okay, what would be the value here? Now, I have both directions here, both pieces to kind of look at. The first one is that if we kind of look at a person who isn't following the practices appropriately, they're not doing what's right. Why would we want to be able to say this or connect with this? Well, first things first, in North Carolina, there was a certificant who, let's see, they were a licensed massage therapist, and they moved to a town and opened a practice. Well, they decided that they wanted to get more massage in than they could do, so they hired illegal workers to come in and to do the massage. Well, as they started filling up the schedule of these non-massage licensed massage therapists, they were people who were rubbing as a non-professional career. So as they started building their schedule, the massage therapist offered to sell the practice to them, and then moved away and left his license to practice on the wall. I don't know if he had board certification, any of that kind of stuff, but he left his license to practice up on the wall. As that happened, then he moved to another town and did the same thing again and again and again. Now, who he was using, legal, illegal, all of that kind of stuff, I don't know. However, what I do know is that he's not following the ethics and the legal side of how to make sure to deal with this appropriately. So when we connect with how we can display our certificate, did it say we have to display our certificate? No, we said we can display our certificate in our primary practice. What's the value in that? Why would we want to do that? Well, there's a couple of pieces. One is, if you have a step above the standard, if you have a higher quality of product, it's going to be very beneficial for you to look at that as a benefit. It's going to be beneficial to you as a therapist to have people coming into your office and seeing a certificate that says this person is board certified massage therapist. They're going to feel a certain way about you. They're going to respect you. They're going to look at your skill and expect more from you. But they're also going to hold you to that tier of respect and expect that you know what you're talking about. So if we want to simply look at what the value of having a board certified massage therapist who has their certificate up, that's a really important piece. So how do we make sure to do that? Well, have that certificate up will grant you a better understanding and a better connection with those massage therapists who don't. It will have people expect that certificate, and that can be a really important thing. That can be something that one person might want to know or might want to be able to connect with and see. Oh yeah, I just did something I'm not supposed to do. There we go. Okay, so I am still on Facebook Live as well, so wanted to make sure that everything's going well there. Hope everyone in Facebook world is doing well. Secondary piece. So going to the benefits of having board certified massage therapist certificate up is that you're expected to hold it. Now, I've done a couple of different experiences. I've ran races. I've ridden my bike long distances. I've committed to do things and followed through. And so looking at the concept of goal achieving and goal committing to gives me a standard of understanding of what is expected of a person to make sure things get done. First one that I have to look at is, as a massage therapist, if I'm looking at holding true to standards, if people know what my standards are, it's more likely that I'm going to hold true to that. It's more likely that I'm going to have to connect with that, and I'm going to have to understand what the value is. Make sense? If you want support in making sure that you achieve your goals, if you want to work out every day, and you go to your friends around you and you say, hey, I have a goal of working out every day for the month of July or August or January or whichever month, and I want to work out every day. Just wanted to let you know so that you can follow up with me. You're more likely to do it because you have given other people around you the ability to follow up with you. if they do or don't, you're still more likely to do it. Now, if you have someone who follows up with you, you're even more likely that you will do it, and you will do it successfully, because that person will hold you accountable and responsible. So not only just tell someone who's ignoring you, or when you get on the bus, say, hey, bus driver, this is what I'm doing. The bus driver doesn't know you for anyone, so you'll be like, okay, have fun. But connecting with those people who will follow up with you and ask you how things went, how things are going, that's a really great tool. You know, I get slightly annoyed with Facebook. Hi, Facebook friends. When people get on Facebook and have a complaint mope session, because we all have those days. I absolutely understand having a bad day. However, writing a book about your bad day can mope everyone out. However, going the other direction and saying, hey, you know what? I am going to be doing this, and I'm going to be posting it on Facebook. Please follow up with me. Wow, that then takes all of my Facebook acquaintances and those connected to me and makes me responsible to them, not only as a tool, but as an understanding, a benefit to really kind of work with me following through. So what is that purpose, once again, for us to connect with people and post our board certificate? Now, it's not mandatory, so you're not going to get in trouble if you don't. However, if you do, then people will look at that and say, this is a massage therapist who is board certified. I would expect of them. All right? You want people to expect the best of you. And you want to follow through on that. If you don't, then I kind of question why you want to be a massage therapist. Because you want to be a professional, and so you should be connecting with that and expecting yourself to be the best possible you. So giving people the ability to follow up with you and follow through with you, even if you put that certificate up and they go, oh, well, what does that mean? Have you ever looked at what it means to be board certified as a massage therapist? Have you ever looked at what it means to really connect with your profession in a different way other than, yeah, I'm licensed? If you want to have a mechanic and you want to have a mechanic who's okay, then you send them to anybody. But if you want someone with a specialty in something that's going on with your car, you may want a certified specialist in Toyota or Honda or Mitsubishi or whatever your specialty, whatever that specialty is. You want to make sure that you're getting the right person to help for the right thing. Because especially if it gets to be a more stringent case, a challenging case, gosh, you want to make sure that the right person knows what they're doing. Okay. Not just for your car, but even for your body. The human body is an amazing tool. Being able to work with the human body and structurally develop a person so that they can feel better is great. I've got a couple of dogs for my family. One of our dogs is extremely obese. He's a blue heeler, and he's 84 pounds. Blue heeler should never be 84 pounds. He is also a mix of several other things. But we looked at him, we talked about it, and we decided that, he should really go on a diet. We should really get his exercise going. And so he is my son's dog. And so my son has, for the last month, has had him on a regiment of dog food at certain times and has made sure to walk him and exercise and do all this wonderful stuff. And gosh, at it was 83 pounds a month ago. And just yesterday, they took him to the pet store and had him weighed again. And he was 82 pounds. So he lost 1 pound in the month. And my wife was a little bit shocked that he only lost 1 pound. And I thought, first of all, that's 1 pound of 83 pounds. So percentage-wise, that's a larger percentage than me losing 1 pound. At 200 plus, losing 1 pound isn't as massive as that. Also, the type of dog he is and the things that he did. But we started talking about what that meant for him to lose 1 pound. And I said, so what behaviors have you seen? Well, he's slimmed down a little bit. I noticed that he doesn't look like a sausage kind of pressing out against its limit. It actually has he has a little bit more shape. Perfect. That's 1 pound of shape change. Great. What else? And so she's like, oh, well, have you seen him get in and out of the car? Well, he was having a hard time getting in and out of the car before, and now he's able to do it. And I'm like, perfect. Well, let's see what happens this next month as he stays on the diet food, as he stays exercising, as we continue on. We create those goals for our dog. Well, what does this have to do with ethics at all? What does this have to do with us setting our standards as massage therapists? Well, let's look at who you are as a massage therapist, as a professional. You're going to have clients who are going to come in and they're going to say, you know, I have headaches. I've got neck pain. I've got this problem. And you're going to say, okay, let's start looking at that standard. Let's start looking at the challenges that you have. Let's look at the unique human style that you are, the conditions that you have that are different than anybody else. Now let's look at all of those pieces and let's start acting as if we're going to figure out what we can do to help you, even the slightest. So you see them once a month, twice a month. You see them weekly. You see them however often you set up as a treatment plan. In that treatment plan, you've created this standard, this expectation. Once you've created that expectation, you go a month out and you say, hey, I've seen you this many times. How is the headache feeling? You know, according to the standards of practice, if you're not seeing results, you need to refer out. If you aren't seeing results, you need to get them to the place where they can get results. That can be inside the profession of massage therapy or outside the profession of massage therapy. So making sure that you're referring to the right direction. Generally, their general practitioner is a great tool because he can do assessment or he can do diagnostics to determine if it's a neurological condition, if it's a physiological condition, if it's a psychological condition. He is more skilled at that than we are as massage therapists. We don't have the education. We don't have the background. We don't have that ability to understand how to best work with those people. So we want to make sure that our clients are happy and healthy. So we refer out when we can't do it. But when we see changes, like I did with my dog, 1 pound and less than 1 pound and bigger than 1 pound, changes in his behavior, changes in his excitement for life, in the things that he does, that changes a lot of what we actually want to see. That gives us that ability to say, hey, here's where we start seeing that benefit. So connect with your benefits and make sure that you're looking at that, holding true to your standards of practice and demonstrating your certificate in your office so that when people look at it, they go, oh, you're board certified massage therapist. In your office, it should say how awesome you are, because guess what? You're awesome. You're awesome. You're taking the time out of your life to really connect with other massage therapists. You're taking time out of your life to actually look at ethics. You're taking time out of your life to look at how to improve the massage therapy profession. You're awesome. You're part of what makes massage therapy great. You're part of what makes massage therapists look good in the medical field. You're part of what makes massage therapy a legitimate source of healthcare. There's something to that. There's something huge in that, because you need to be that wonderful example to our profession. Let that be the certificate on your wall. Let that be the certificates of continuing education classes that you've taken. And that's something that's out there. You know, I find it funny when I go and I take a continuing education class and I'm out talking to the other massage therapists in the class, and they are all really good massage therapists. And I'm excited to be working next to these other people who do these different things, because I'm going to learn from that person who's sitting next to me generally as much as I learn from the instructor, because rarely does the instructor actually get to work on you one-on-one. but the person who's sitting next to you who you're doing demonstration with and working on this and working on that, that's where you actually get a lot of that connection. That's where you get a lot of that skill. That's where you feel comfortable really pushing forward. So, okay, off the soapbox, going back to the key piece for what we're looking for here for the standard of practice. Remembering that we are on Q&R, remain in good standings with the with National Certification Board. Remaining in good standards means that you're making the choices that will not get you suspended, revoked. Being able to read the standards of practice and the code of ethics and decide to live according to it. If you can't, then I wouldn't suggest being board certified. But if you can agree to the things that are in the standards of practice and the code of ethics, then it's important for you to connect and say, you know what, I represent this and they represent me. And letter R, understand that NCB TMB certificate may be displayed primarily in the certificate's primary place of practice. You know, it's great to be able to have that document. It's great to be able to connect with people. I appreciate you guys. So great there. Now coming up, we've got a couple of other things coming through S, T, and U, and V. This is going to be next week, and this is going to be the week after. And then we're going to get into legal and ethical requirements. This is standard 2 is going to really kind of get some deep topics going. So if you are, once again, interested in being a guest on Ethics Outside the Box, please join me. Contact me. Nathan at educatedtouch.com is where you'll be able to connect with me. And we'll be able to set you up in a topic that would be appropriate to you. A lot of times I have continuing education providers who want to come in and talk about ethics, but they don't feel like they have the right skill set to talk ethics. You know, I understand that. We'll kind of go through and we'll talk about either specifically tools or something else like that, and we'll find the right standard to really work best for you. So remember, that is there. If you would like to participate in one of our live webinars, you will have to register the day before, at least a day before. You can register all the way through the end of September here in the next couple of days. I'll have all those dates set up. And so being able to register for a live webinar, I know several states require that live webinars be part of your continuing education and is considered live continuing education, because we engage with you a little bit different than we do in the webinars and on Facebook, okay? So being able to connect with you that direction is always beneficial. Last piece is that if you haven't gone to YouTube, you've gone to Educated Touch to connect with us, please do. Like us on YouTube. That will give us an understanding that people are actually watching and that you're connecting and understanding and agree with standards and making sure that standards in massage therapy are held high and respected. Those are tools that we have that we really want to connect with and really make sure that you're feeling safe and understanding that you're there as well. All right, so one more piece before I go too far here. Just going to shrink this down a little bit. Yes, I'm now clicking on my computer, and you guys are all saying, "Oh, Nathan, you're being obnoxious and not being able to connect with your audience." That becomes a challenge. Wanted to look at a couple of pieces here. First one is remembering that we do have a couple of websites to go to. The National Certification Board website. If you go to ncbtmb.org, that will turn you to this page. And so the National Certification Board of Therapeutic Massage and Body Workers is a great page for a lot of information. If you're looking for the right thing, on the left, you're going to see blog, you're going to see board certification, online practice exams. If you're looking to become board certified, that's a great source to look at for the exam itself. For students, also affiliate programs. If you own a oil company or own a spa or own a series of spas or a part of a group, look at the affiliate program, because that really does connect you with board certification and kind of remind you of the quality there. You can find a board certified therapist, NCB assigned school, and approved CE provider in the Find A section. Any questions, go to email, sign up. They will update you. If you're a board certified massage therapist and you aren't getting emails from NCB, first of all, you may have let your membership lapse. I would suggest you go back and connect with them because that's going to be an important piece. But the secondary piece is that you are definitely getting updated on what changes are happening. So sign up now for getting updates on NCB. About. So if you want to be a volunteer for NCB, they have 2 committees currently, and they're expanding and striving to make sure that people who are excited about NCB and board certification and want to volunteer can. Please click on this link, and that will draw you to a page to apply to be a volunteer. I would love to see more volunteers. It always helps not only the nonprofit, but it also helps you get more skilled in a certain thing or get more understanding about different subjects. A lot of my experience in the profession not only has come from being a licensed massage therapist for 17 plus years, but also comes from spending years volunteering, connecting with the other members of the profession, both people who have had good experiences and people who have had challenges. So we also have the code of ethics here and the standards of practice. That is what we're going through, and that's kind of what we really hope that people will connect with. Going to Educated Touch, educatedtouch.com has classes, coming up classes for the webinars, and the emails of the exams for past classes that are YouTube videos. So if you watch a YouTube video and you say, hey, that was a really great one, I really want to know more, I really want to get some continuing education for this as a distance learning class, you pay for your test. I send you your test. As soon as you email it back, then I can send you a certificate that says that you've received 1 hour of continuing education on the subject at hand. Okay. Instructors, once again, we travel around the country and really connect with massage therapists around the nation. So if you have a group, you're part of an association that has chapters, or you're part of any type of school that draws people, we would love to work with them to connect and kind of come out and participate in your local area. Okay. Last place. You are my Facebook friends for a reason. Make sure you can reach out to me, Nathan Nordstrom, on Facebook. You're going to see a whole bunch of craziness of people who are connecting with me in different ways. Oh, Facebook, the pink text, yeah. So you've got Facebook for Nathan Nordstrom. You also have Facebook for Educated Touch, and you have Facebook for Ethics Outside the Box. So Educated Touch is where we do most of our publication. So most of you who are watching this have probably connected already with me on Educated Touch. However, if you haven't yet, go over to Ethics Outside the Box by Educated Touch. So Ethics Outside the Box, search, put that in the search bar, and friend Ethics Outside the Box. That's where we have all of our connections for this series of shows to go through. Anything I can do, feel free to, once again, contact me at nathan@educatedtouch.com. And with that being said,
The hour has flown by. We hope you've enjoyed this discussion with Ethics Outside the Box. As you've seen, Nathan uses many second-hand stories of ethical situations. If you'd like to share your story or you have any questions, feel free to contact him and Nathan at educatedtouch.com. If you'd like to register for next week's live webinar, go to shop.educatedtouch.com. Under live webinars, you will see all upcoming webinars. If you have just watched this video and would like continuing education for home study, you can go to shop.educatedtouch.com under the home study options with the date or episode number to receive your exam. If you would please like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel, we will keep you up to date on new videos. If you'd like to attend one of our live courses, you can find upcoming scheduled events at www.educatedtouch.com. Thank you for joining us today.